Hello everyone, I just want to thank everyone for clicking onto this video. A people with no history are a fragile people. Sheikh Anta Diop, or Sheikh, he was actually a Sheikh, Sheikh Anta Diop. Diop because of my pronunciation, but I managed to get, I had some Mandinka guy and it's actually pronounced Job, not Diop. I just want to repeat that. A people with no history are a fragile people. Thank you for clicking onto this video, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. I really like my first stage is to get to 1,000. Is to get to 10,000 subscribers. That's the first phase, and then we'll start. That's what I'm saying. And then I'm gonna turn this platform into a more action-oriented platform where we're gonna be doing things, not just me. Everyone who subscribes to this channel is gonna become part of this. Is gonna become part of this journey. We're gonna do it together. Action, not just talking. Action. However, we need to educate ourselves before we get onto the action part. So why did I start this video by saying a people with no history are a fragile people? And I quote, that's Sheikh Anta Diop, or Job. I strongly believe history is very important. You can't know where you're going until you know where you've come from. This is how history is important. I found out recently that Marcus Garvey obviously was struggling just like most black people outside of Africa, who were born outside of struggle, because there's a few things you ask yourself, a lot of people do, just like Dr. Chancellor, the writer of The Destruction of African Civilization, starts by saying how he questions his parents, like, why is it that we own nothing? And all the white guys own everything, and the parents couldn't answer him. And that's the importance of history. We need to know our history, where we come from, for us to determine our future. If you don't know your history, you are in limbo. You're like a zombie. You just get pushed around by everybody. And I think that's the stage we are in. We are like sleeping. It's like Europe during the Dark Ages. You know what I mean? And if we don't come together, because there's a bit of an awakening that has been happening since the 50s, but surely, or since Marcus Garvey, I would say. But we haven't been able to galvanize. We haven't been able to work together and go back, learn our history, and try to bring back our former glory, make black people great again. So Marcus Garvey, apparently, they found out the tomb of Tutankhamun, and then Carter, who found the tomb of Tutankhamun, decided to take the mummy to the US, and he was doing viewings around the US, and then he would open up the mummy, and people would go there and view. Remember, most African Americans didn't know anything about Africa. They believed in the Tarzan stories. Oh, without us, you were nobody. You have no history. That's what they believed, right? So Marcus Garvey went to one of these viewings, and he saw that, and this is where we don't get it. What we think, what we want, and how we want to do things is actually a different, or how we see things different from other people. The sad thing is, we like to take a back seat and just accept the views of other people. And that's the saddest part, and that's the reason why we are where we are today. So Marcus Garvey saw Tutankhamun And he realized that the mummy looked like the modern day Maasai people. And up to it's there, you can Google it, you realize that Marcus Garvey was right. And then that, did cause it's one of those light bulb moments where you go, how come we have no history? And this dude, this mummy, is 4,000 years old. That put him on a path to want to learn about us. And ended up doing what he ended up doing because he realized that we had a great past. And he wanted to make our future great. So I'll start a series of videos, and I'm trying to figure out what name to call it. It's gonna be, I can say it's like it could be like Africa in history, but at the same time I don't want to use Africa because I don't think Africa is really our name. I think it's named after some guy called Africanus, some European dude. I might call it the Sudan Enlightenment because Sudan just means black. Or I might call it Ethiopia, which also means land of the black. Or Kemet Enlightenment. So I'm trying to find out the title for this series of videos. Mainly will be about African history because I want us to understand where we come from so we can start sort of forging a new future for ourselves. I'm not trying to get 1 million people or whatever. That's cool with me. I would rather have 50 like-minded people where we come together and we do something. Because I know once people see what we're doing, everyone is going to join. So there are going to be some projects coming. But at the moment, we need everyone to be on the same page. This is not a channel. And like I said, I want to make this channel action-oriented. It might not happen this year, but I'm sure once all this COVID is sort of, out and people are able to move around, which is, I hope next year, you're going to see some serious, some action happening on this channel, on the land. And everyone who subscribes to this channel, they'll be part of it, because we'll be releasing videos like you've never seen before. We're going to even employ a team of people to do the videos and pay them well, Africans, But why do I want to start this series? Man, like I think you've seen my old videos. I talk about how I used, like at school, all we learned was European history. I know more European history than most Europeans, and most Africans, I think, know more European history than most Europeans because their education system is very different. The other one is trying to brainwash you. If you're in Africa, it's trying to brainwash you and believe into all these stories that are not true, whereas the people in Europe get taught things that are fundamental or useful to their way of life. For us, it's about brainwashing, and unfortunately, our governments haven't been able to tackle that. That's why we are not free. We are not free, economically not free, mentally not free, and that's why we are in the position where we are. You remember Marcus Garvey said everywhere he looked, black people suffered. Everywhere in the world, we are at the bottom of the order, of the hierarchy. And it's true. Look at it today, almost 100 years later, his words still, ring true, and we need to do something about it. So I'm gonna do a quick show of things I'm gonna talk about in the series, and this is gonna be a long series, and I'll be sort of just bringing in bits and bits, but I want to use one of the so-called Black History Month. The reality is that's stupid, actually, but I just want to use that. You can't put the history of black people in 1 month. It's impossible. We have the oldest, the longest history in the world. All right, there we go. Just a quick one. 20,000 years ago, in the Congo, we created the first mathematical instrument known as the Shango bones. The Shango bone. And what it was a baboon bone with like a ruler, like the way you have a ruler today, with all the marks. intricately cut to mark the countings and all those things. And apparently the story goes, people realized that it doesn't matter how big or fat the baboons were, the bones, I think it was the tibia, was still about the same length. So they used that, and they used that to start using it to count. So 20,000 years ago, that's long, before anyone else did it. You know, and where this happened is very close to the Nile River, and we're gonna follow the Nile River now. So the first civilization happened in the Congo, in the whole world, you know, and we got the proof. Unfortunately, the Shango bone today is not in the Congo, it's not in Africa. It's locked up in Belgium. You know, imagine if the Congo was running the way it should be running, a superpower. You know, the Shango bone will be outside at the entrance of the museum, placed in some gold plate, so we can. We are announcing our superiority. We are announcing our powerfulness. We did this. You know, but it's not the case. It's hidden somewhere in Belgium. You know, among other stupid artifacts that are not even important. You know, so it's very close to the source of the Nile River where this happened. And we can say, after that, people started moving up, because we all know the Egyptian history or the Egyptian civilization didn't start from the end of the Nile River coming down. No, it started from the bottom of the Nile River going up. But anyway, that's the second. The second thing I'll mention is a place called it's an astronomical observatory called Napta Player. It's between Egypt and Sudan. You know, the people, it's about 9,000 years old. And, you know, there's a bit of debate. I think it's even older. And people used to use that to observe the stars and the skies and everything. And you look up, I think it's the Donga tribe. They knew about Sirius the star Sirius before anyone else did. And when Europeans found out, they tried to put a spin on it and said, oh, it's some French guy who taught them. No. And you find out where these people are from. You found out where these people are from. They knew, even up to now, you go there, the science, it's amazing. It's amazing, guys. You know, there's so much evidence of our previous greatness. You know, so much evidence. I tell you, debates have been held. I'll tell you one of the debates, the debate that was held called the Cairo Symposium. This happened because UNESCO was writing a book, the Natural History of Africa, trying to find out best way to represent Egypt. Do we represent it as white? Do we represent it as, you know, Middle Eastern, or do we represent it as Africa? And there was 20 people were debating. Only two, Sheikh Anta Diop and another brother, stood up to say these were black people. You know, the other 18 were against using black people, and these were the Christians from Europe and the Muslims, the Arabs, or whatever you call them, from the Middle East. It's these people, you know? And before that, Sheikh Anta Diop had access, you know, because guys, the evidence is overwhelming. We need to change history in Africa. The people, our students, African students, the history they learn, that's garbage. That's the way the brainwashing starts. This history, our history, guys, we need this. We need to learn who we were. You know, I'm so passionate about this, man. It's you know. Anyway, so I had access to some of the mummies that they dug up, and what he did was to do, because you remember, Anta Diop was very educated. What he did, and this is what we need. We need to know our history and get proper education so we can able to debate these guys, because everything for them is based on fantasies. The evidence is stacked against them. You know, it's stacked against them. You know, everything we've been taught is based on lies. You know, so Sheikh Anta Diop had they taken some skin off some of these mummies and trying to test to find the melanin in their skin. The melanin, guys, in their skin. It came out they were African. And among other evidences, you look at the statues of the first dynasty, you know, Menes or Mana, whatever you call them, Pharaoh Mana or Menes, the founder of Egypt, the one who put Upper and Lower Egypt together. Khufu, Khafre, Djoser, Senusri. Look this up. Don't go. don't just listen to me. You can Google this stuff. And you make up your own decision whether they are African. If it's Menace, it looks more like Mike Tyson. It looks like me, And the funny thing is, I was looking at YouTube, and there's a video. Someone has made a cartoon of how Egypt came together, and they've used Menace, a white guy, but the true Menace is hiding somewhere in the museum in England, again, hidden. They don't put those, that evidence out in public. It's hidden in drawers and all these things. When you go to the Cairo Museum, they mostly bring out the Egyptian pharaohs that came after after we did everything, and they saw it was beautiful. It's like the story of the Sun people and the Ice people. The Ice people goes to the Sun people, and they found that it's beautiful, and they didn't want to go back, and they killed the Sun people. That's basically it. Egypt got invaded, but if you look at the history of Egypt, the pyramids were built by us. A city called Buhan was built by us. All the pyramids were built by us. The temples at Karnak, we started all that. It was us. But this is not just about Egypt. So anyway, Sheikh Anta Diop, it's two guys. And I was going to say they won. No, they didn't win. Winning is an underestimate. They annihilated the guys who opposed it. And they won. Completely annihilated them. Because like I'm telling you, the evidence is just overwhelming. The reason why we learn this stupid history in our schools is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to try and make this channel goal-oriented. We're going to bring in writers. Eventually, that's what I want to do. Some of these writers that have written amazing books, they're still around. We're going to bring in these writers. And I hope, like, in a few years' time, we could be able to be strong enough to start pursuing some of these African governments to change the history. And we don't have to say, oh, you write it. No, we're going to have it already there. They just have to put it together with our help and change. Because I believe that is where our liberation starts, by changing our history and teaching these kids the real history. So we can, instead of everyone thinking after school they want to go to Europe, we can change the mentality where everyone starts to think, after school, I want to create something like King Menas did. Here in Africa, at home. I don't need to go abroad. Like, shout out to my man Osman Touré from the Gambia. He's now, I think, in Rwanda studying. He refused to go abroad. That's the next generation, of young people. We can help the next generation to change their mindset and liberate our people. So anyway, the Shango bone in the Congo, the first mathematical instrument, the Napta plier, the first astronomical observatory in the world, and then when we look at Paleolithic paintings around North Africa, the paintings depict people that don't look like the people today. Okay? They're all black people. That's what these paintings depict. Anyway, so now, just a quick rundown of some of the things I'll be bringing up in this series. we're gonna start with Sudan. We got Merowe or Sudan or Nubia, whatever you want to call it. We got Merowe and Napata kingdoms, and we're gonna talk about these kingdoms. You can see the pyramids. Some of the pyramids, most of the pyramids there are older. Some of them are older than the pyramids in Egypt. So it tells you where to build the pyramids thing started from. And also King Josa, look him up. He's the first one to do the step pyramid. Look him up with Amhotep. Look them up. And then from there we're gonna move to the East Africa, where we go to Swahili Federation. We're gonna talk about that. Just to go back a few years ago, there was coins that were discovered in Australia, on the beach in Australia, which were Swahili coins. They were very, very, very old coins. That's how big this federation was. When we move to Southern Africa, we're going to talk about the Great Zimbabwe. About hundreds to thousands of tons of granite stones put together without cement, and they're still standing today. And they're still standing today. This was done by the Shona people. We can go to Aksuma Empire, see what they did there. We go to a place called the Lalibela. These are the things we have to realize. Sometimes, when Europeans come to Africa, they are expecting to find buildings like the way they built them in Europe, and we have those buildings. We have those buildings. But we also did something that they haven't done yet. Instead of building, we died. We were digging down the mountain, down these rocks, mountains, and then carving them. The church at Lalibela in Ethiopia. Look it up. Look it up. West Africa, we got the Kingdom of Benin, Songhai, Benin, Mali, kingdoms, and the University of Timbuktu, which has about 700,000 manuscripts that you can access now. They've translated them, and some of these have been in like family hands, because they've been passed on from generation to generation to generation. The Benin War, which went around the city, if I'm not confused, between the Benin War and the war around Ila Ife, one of them was considered to be the greatest construction site, the biggest construction site, pre-mechanical construction. And this was entered in the Guinness Book of Records. When we talk about Ila Ife, where the streets were paved with corn cobs. I know that's how everyone's going, oh, corn cobs, but until you find out, it takes 18 years for corn cobs to rot. And also you gotta ask yourself a question: corn, where did corn come from? This was before Columbus, man. Corn, South America. So where did this queen end up getting these corn cobs? If Africans didn't build boats to go across the ocean, our history is amazing, guys. It's amazing, and we need to teach ourselves, our kids. When the kids go to school, when they come home, sit down with them and teach them the true history. If they're in Africa, do the same thing. But I want us to get on this journey because I think it's something that's going to change us. Because you have to realize, so the whole of North Africa was black. The whole of North Africa was black. This was the time when the Sahara was like tropical, man. It was animals. It was beautiful. We were painting and hanging out and chilling and just kicking it. And the paintings prove that. And then these people come in, pretty much take over, and also the Sahara starts desertification and all those things. But they're invaders, and they've managed to stay in the, So those people in the you see in North Africa, they're just invaders that have taken over. Right now you look at Egypt, the Nubians, who were actually the people that actually built Africa today, or ancient Egypt, today they've been just pushed to one place towards the Aswan, which is not even a good environment, and everything has been taken over. Once we learn our history, we can learn how that happens. And then we have to say no more again, just like the Jews have done. No more. But we have to learn that history. So we learn what went wrong there. Because I tell you what, this is the saddest part that has happened to us. 1619 is not the beginning of your like having a better life, like they keep telling you, especially for you guys in America. Nah, it's actually the beginning of the destruction of African civilization. Because what has happened then, we were, like I tell you, the first mathematical instrument 20,000 years ago, that was a civilized society in the Congo. So we've been civilized. We were the first, we created civilization. We created it. And we built great empires. I've always wondered why all these people, Europeans, are so interested in Egypt. And I can see why they even try to make it look like it's theirs. The thing is, it's the longest empire. It existed for over 5,000. If you ask me, it's over 8,000 years. Years. We're going to be conservative. We're going to say 5,000 years. No other empire has lasted that long. And what these people try to do is find out what the Egyptians did that made them last long. And this is what they try to do. You can look at George Washington. Google it. Check his grave. There's no cross on George Washington's grave. There's an obelisk. It's Egyptian. If you go in the so-called Washington Monument, you come out of the elevator, you look up. There's George Washington, he was a pharaoh. I'll talk about that also in this series. How America and everything had copied so much from Egypt, and how the George Washington and the founding fathers of America they were not Christians. If you look up, I think it's on the 5th Avenue in New York, you see like a painting, but it's more like a sculpture, which the so-called Freemasonry and have put up, and this is what they do. These people, they put things in public, but because you go past it without even thinking. You see Akhenaten passing knowledge to the Greeks, and the Greeks now passing knowledge to us. You know what? You know the message in there? Look it up. I think it's 5th Avenue. Just you can Google it. If you're in New York, go pass by there. You see this evidence right there. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis came from Egypt. That's our name. It's not an American version. It's not an American name. Memphis, you even find it in Egypt today. So we need to teach our kids and realize that we've been invaded. Our history, our civilization has been destroyed, and we need to go back. We can't just be. You look at a Muslim comes to Africa. Oh, now we become Muslims, but then they end up enslaving us. But then we end up protecting them. Oh, I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. The Christians come to Africa. They say we are savages, and we end up accepting that. So I'm a Christian, and we defend that. And look, it hasn't taken us anywhere. It hasn't. All these things haven't taken us. We need to find our own path. We need to find our own way of governing. Maybe all this so-called democracy and whatever, maybe it just doesn't work for us. What worked for us before? And you realize the kings in Africa were not like the kings in Europe. In Africa, the kings were not these, they were not looked up upon like the way they were looked upon in Europe. They were it was the most democratic way of governing, even when they had monarchies, even when we had monarchies. Find out why Mansa Musa, they tell you that you have no history, you never created anything, you had no empires, you didn't have anything. But then, you're gonna find out that the greatest, the richest man to have ever lived was Mansa Musa. And find out, this is in the whole world, not just in Africa, in the whole world. And find out where he's from. Mali. Okay, so what made him rich? And they've done studies on this. Mansa Musa became rich because he made other people rich. That's the African way of governing. Not this. But look at us today. The president of Cameroon, he's been in power for 32 years. It's only him who's dressed in Gucci, and drives fancy cars. The rest of the population is dying. The president of Gabon is being passed on as rich country, because now we've become Kisas sort of people. Instead of relying that you become, imagine, that's the lesson Africa needs to learn. Your name is only going to last. Imagine if Mobutu made Congo great. Mobutu's name will be everywhere. Mobutu will be, his family will be the richest people probably in the world. Now no one even cares. And this is what we have to realize. We're only going to become rich by making our countries rich, our countrymen rich. And your name will be remembered for thousands of years. For thousands of years. Other people are trying to copy what we did. So that even the Roman Empire didn't last anywhere near how long the Egyptian Empire lasted. So let's start thinking, guys. Help me name this series. That's the first thing I'm going to ask you to help me with. I don't know. Africa history, Africa in history or something like that. I don't want to use Africa. So maybe I'm thinking I want to use some sort of enlightenment or something like that. Maybe the Sudan enlightenment or, something. Help me find the name for this series, because they're going to go on forever and ever and ever. And I want to make it visual so that if I'm talking about something, I present it and you can see it. The Shonga Bone, I presented. The Napta Playa, I presented. The Queen of Nubia, I think was Amani Sheketu. Yeah, the Queen of Nubia. They're 3,000 years old. You know what they found in there? Tweezers, gold tweezers. Google it. It's now in Boston Museum somewhere in America. And when they did this, they even destroyed a tomb, which was a big pyramid. Tweezers. Most of you Africans today think tweezers, they were invented in Europe. In Africa. Tweezers, and they're golden tweezers. Gold tweezers. Same thing. Mansa Musa, gold everywhere. Blinging is just part of us. We've been blinging for centuries. Don't be shy to wear that gold check, as long as you know what you're doing with it. Gold got taken from Ghana. And that's why today the economy of England is not greater than the American economy. However, the pound is worth more than the American dollar. Why is that? Because England has gold backing their economy. Where do you think they got the gold from? The Gold Coast, Ghana. So why are we starving? Why are we starving? So many things we can do. So many things we can do. And starvation shouldn't be one of them. All this starvation was imported to us. Look up videos of African kids in the early 1900s. There's pictures online. Look them up. Their hair, the women their hair was done properly. If anything, you look at the hair of an African in 19. I think I'm gonna show this in 1919 or something, or 1911 or something, to a hair of an African woman today. The hair of an African woman in 19 looks a lot better and cleaner than today. You look at the kids there; they ain't starving. These pictures taken in the 1800s, when when there was no intervention, they ain't starving. The kids are happy, mom's laughing, and everyone, pounding their food and going on about their life. Today, we live on rations. The droppings from the table, and we are there as scavengers. That mentality has to change. Please help me create a platform for us to unwind and help us educate the next generation. First of all, help me with the name of this series. Just put in a comment. I'll be reading all the comments. Thank you. And have a great day. Please subscribe. Let's get to 10,000K ASAP. Thank you.